War. War never changes.
All right, we are live. Welcome back to War Never Changes, episode number 7. I am joined by Phil with an awesome haircut. How are you doing today, Mr. Awesome Haircut?
I'm doing great, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing all right. A little bit of technical difficulties again. It seems like that is the status quo around here, but I think we've got everything figured out again, and I think we're in good shape.
Let's rock and roll.
So, I want to start off this week with asking you, how does it feel to get rid of that beautiful head of hair of yours?
It feels great. I lost like 3 pounds just in my hair, just my hair weight. So got a nice beard trim. I got a nice, you know, my barber's a professional. Let's just leave it at that.
Did your head get cold? Like, does it feel cold because you don't have any hair now?
No,
Okay. I ask because when I shave my head, I usually wear a hat because I complain to Rachel that my head is always cold. And she's like, get over it.
you live in Florida. Florida. It's not cold there.
It's true. I mean, I think yesterday got into the like upper 70s at night, which a little chilly.
They lied to me, Jim.
All right, so I want to know, what did you think of Elder Scrolls Blades? That's how I want to start this off. Mr. Skyrim himself, Mr. I love everything Bethesda. What did you think?
So I thought like the opening scene where the first thing you did is kill a Thalmor was great. It's a great start to a game. And then you kind of wake up in this forest and there's some crates and there's some guys you have to fight. But overall, I think Elder Junius is an annoying pain in the ass, and I don't like doing anything, even though it's completely necessary for the progression of the game. I don't like doing anything he tells me to do because he just
Okay.
seems like a weirdo. But right now, I've done a couple of quests, and I'm trying to rebuild the town. So I'm trying to gather materials and things like that to rebuild this town, because I
Yeah.
guess these mercenaries that came through to collect a tax were burning the place down for some reason, and they destroyed a statue. So I'm in the very early stages of the game, but it's fun so far. As far as like the appearance and the gameplay go, we'll talk about gameplay first. I don't like the charged hits. I'm like a hack and slash kind of guy, and to have to hack, wait, slash, wait. It's annoying. It just seems. I don't know why they would do that. It just seems for no reason. Maybe they just didn't want it to be exactly like Skyrim. No idea. As far as the looks of the game, it looks like a scaled down version of Oblivion. It looks terrible. Like I don't care that much about graphics. Like I get it, that's supposed to be a tree. I accept it as a tree. I don't need to be able to like see the individual striations in the bark. But I mean, it looks like if you've ever seen South Park, Mr. Hanky, the big piece of poo, the Christmas Mr. Hanky, the Christmas poo. It looks like someone took his Christmas hat off, like straightened him up a little bit, put some striations in him, and said, "That's a fucking tree, Jim. It's not a tree. It's a turd." So that's my thoughts. I haven't accomplished too much. I'm not, I haven't spent too much time with it, but as a total novice, just getting into it, I feel like I'm going to enjoy it, but it is a little rough.
Are you playing it on your phone or are you playing it on your
Playing it on
Switch?
my Switch. I'm not going to play it on my phone.
You should try it on your phone because what do you have, an iPhone like X, or what do you have, like a 7, 6? What do you have?
This one,
That doesn't tell me anything.
iPhone 11 Pro Max.
I
If
don't know
this
why that
doesn't
made me
tell you
laugh
what
so
you need to know,
hard.
the only iPhone currently available with 3 camera lenses, that doesn't tell you anything. It doesn't narrow it down for you, Jim.
I didn't see the camera. I just saw the case very briefly, and I was like,
Oh,
what does this have to do with anything?
like my case, it's all cigar bands.
Beautiful. All right, so good deal. So try it. I say try it on your phone because it'll run a lot better. It'll look a lot smoother. It's 60 frames a second. It's prettier. Everything's better.
Okay, I will definitely consider maybe doing that at some point.
I'm glad you tried it, and I wish, you didn't get to experience the joy I did when the game first came out because it was really, really, really bad, and the graphics were just really slow, and it just didn't look good. You didn't get to experience that joy.
You know what that
Compare
was?
the world's smallest violin.
Yep.
So I mean, it did after some time. It definitely did get a lot better. It's a lot more refined now. Things don't take as long as they used to. It's still grindy. It's still free to play. So there's a lot of that. Hey, do you want to buy a treasure chest? Hey, do you want to buy an upgrade? But the story was interesting, and I liked it, and I still play it. Not every day, but I still play it at least once a week.
Nice.
Okay, so I'm glad you did go through it. What else have you been up to this week in gaming? What else have you been playing?
So this week, um, I played some Overcooked 2 with the wife, which I hated. We played some Elder Scrolls Online, which was nice last night. And this afternoon, I randomly decided, you know what? I've got 3,100 Call of Duty battle points. I'm just going to buy the Season 3 Battle Pass and get all the retroactive things that I've earned.
Oh, you did.
I did,
You
and
did.
I'm at like rank 50 or whatever, so I got 50 little trinkets. And because I had at the stage where I am, I'd earned back 600 points. I'm only down 400 points. So when season 4 comes out, if it ever comes out, I should have more than enough points to purchase it.
Okay. So you are fully in. So you still want to like grind out to get a couple extra rewards. Is there anything like in the immediate thing that you're like really interested in? Like, oh, I really need to get to whatever?
It's gonna sound stupid, but I really like the little charms. I want all the charms. I want the little juggernaut charm. I want the chain gun charm. I like decking the guns out, which I think most people do, which is why they can sell you literally stripes, colorful stripes on a gun for $10. Uh, but I like getting stuff for the guns because I don't really need any of the other weapons. I have my loadout set. I like what I play with. So now I'm just pretty much doing it for all the fancy goodies and perks. So I'm a consumer, Jim. I'm just a filthy casual consumer.
You can pay your way through if you wanted to. If you really need something, you can buy up to that level if you have to have it.
I don't want to do that.
Okay. I
I want to
mean,
earn it.
it's more fun. I only use one charm anyway, but I do like collecting them the same as you. Um, and they don't add any value at all. I don't really even notice them when I'm playing, but just the fact that they're there. Maybe in a replay camera, somebody sees a guy with a hot pink deagle mowing him down, and there's like, is that a slice of pizza on his gun? And it just pisses him off even more.
Is that your charm? A slice of pizza?
No, I go back. I was joking when I said I only use one. I typically do the helpful dog, or I do the chain gun. Those are the two I use pretty frequently.
Gotcha.
For me, I have been playing. I beat Far Cry 5,
Hmm.
and I am now on to my new obsession, which is Far Cry New Dawn. And I think it was on this podcast that you told me you hated it.
Certainly don't hate it. It
Hate
wasn't.
it.
It definitely wasn't as good as Far Cry 5, and they basically they took an existing game and they covered it in moss and said, "Here you go. 17 years later, here's a bunch of people with spray paint on their helmets that are bad. Get rid of them."
All right. So, did you think that like I'm playing through it and I hear people keep saying that one of the biggest criticisms is they reuse the old map. I've been around a lot in Far Cry 5 and in New Dawn, and I'm not really seeing many of the same places.
Well,
Did you?
it would have been pretty blatantly obvious to just leave the map to just do what I basically said in a very jocular way, that they took the same map and put some moss on all the same buildings. They definitely shifted things around. So obviously the assumption is that the nuke that went off destroyed a lot of the buildings, and they took the scrap from those buildings and built new buildings or domiciles or dwellings or whatever in different places. But the actual map itself is the exact same thing as the last game. It's indisputably so. It's just things are in different places now. They just kind of switched it up a little bit.
Okay. So I didn't think that was, if that's really true, and I'm not doubting you, and it was like, oh my God, I've been in this thing, I'm going to walk 3 feet, and there's a cliff here, and there's a river there, I've done this. I think the gameplay loop is different enough that it doesn't really affect how I play.
Well, Jim, I feel like you are wired or pre-programmed to, even if you haven't heard my opinion or thoughts on something, to automatically disagree with whatever it is that I'm going to say. So I don't care about anything you have to say ever, because you're consistently wrong. Like, the whole world is telling you it's the same map, and you're like, well, is it really? Is it the same map? Yes, it is. And you're going to buy the Xbox day one. Shut the fuck up, Jim.
No, that's not true.
Which is the weakest response I've ever. It's not true.
No, I'm fixing your camera. You got teleported over again. I don't know why. I think it's because you cussed at me. the the Skype gods didn't like that.
Skype's like, no.
Okay. Map concessions aside, the gameplay loop is really cool, and I like it because I think it fills in a lot of gaps of the original Far Cry game. Well, not the original, Far Cry 5, through all the little lore that you pick up. I don't know, did you ever read like the little papers and the little like recordings and stuff? Did you do that?
Yes,
So
I did.
And you still didn't like it. Those are my two big sales pitches.
I didn't say I didn't like it at all. I just don't like it as much as Far Cry 5.
Okay. I think for me, what I like is there's a different gameplay loop to it where you don't use money to buy things. You have to go around and do quests and that sort of thing. And I really like that because it kind of forces you to explore a little bit of the world and to see kind of how things have shaped up, and it rewards you by going out. God, your camera. It rewards you by going out and exploring things in a way that I feel like Far Cry 5 didn't. And I like that a lot. There we go. But I understand, I think Far Cry still suffers from this problem where they want to be serious, but they're not serious. It's like a duality at the exact same time. We're going to be very serious. We're going to have this really powerful opening. You're going to see basically the end of the world. These two evil sisters come. It's this gang of evil people. You're this captain of this task force. You get separated from your team, and before you know it, you're fighting people with chainsaw guns. And it's just like, or chainsaw blades that shoots out like blades. And I'm like, wow, we just took a total left turn. We totally veered away from what this game could have been so quickly.
Yeah. And I can appreciate that. The diversity and the creativity in the weapons I thought was pretty cool. The diversity of like the flora and the fauna was okay. It was like white deer, every stereotype you've ever thought about in a radiated area.
Yeah.
I didn't believe the sisters as like this overwhelming force. They're they're very young. I just don't believe that. I just didn't believe them as real villains. Like, they were kind of a joke to me.
Okay.
I didn't see them as any sort of like a real threat whatsoever. I feel like they were forced. It was like a forced perspective, kind of. Mm-hmm. And I just couldn't buy into it. Whereas with Mr. Seed, this dude is genuinely intimidating. He's got the whole like cult of personality thing going. He's got religion mixed into it.
Yeah.
This is a master manipulator that I can see using brute force or using manipulation to get into a place in his life where he can then use brute force to control others. That I can see. And the story was explained how they slowly bought more and more pieces of this county to where they basically owned everything. And they funded it through the cult. So that I believe. These two 17-year-old sisters coming out of nowhere, and one of them's a really good fist fighter, and the other one's good with a sniper rifle, and somehow every alpha female and alpha male in this entire county is terrified of them while they ride around in their stupid little go-kart. I'm not. I don't believe that. So.
Did you beat the game?
Yes, of course I did.
Oh, you did. I thought you gave up on it.
No, I don't give up on games.
I don't give up on games. They give up on me.
Do you ever get like 50 hours into a storyline and like, you know what? Screw this. I'm not going to play it anymore.
Yes, all the time.
How? How can you invest that much of your life into something and not see it through?
My YouTube channel's a perfect example.
That's why you're never going to get anywhere in life, Jim.
Okay, so I mean, but didn't you think it was cool that like you got to see some of the same characters years later? Like the one sniper girl was blind. You had to help out the pilot guy, and he had the airplane, but his wings were missing, and you ended up doing this cool water chase sequence. Like I thought that was cool.
Yeah, no, the blind sniper woman, she definitely came in handy. But yeah, no, on a serious note, to answer your question in a serious matter, yes, getting to factor in the nostalgia factor and like the game developers being like, you know this person, you know them, get ready for some fun. That was a fun aspect of it. But like, it came and I experienced the moment, and then the moment left. So it was just kind of like a cheap 5 or 10 minute thrill every once in a while in the game.
I feel like in this game there were a lot more allies active in the world than in Far Cry 5. I felt like constantly every engagement I got in, 5 or 6 townfolk were running in to help out.
Again, people genuinely feared the Seed cult.
Yeah.
I don't feel as though they legit if they ride up in their stupid little go-kart, everyone scurries, but people weren't afraid of these fighters because they're a bunch of punks. Oh, we wear motorcycle helmets with spray paint on them. We're tough. I just don't buy into that. That's part of the reason why they didn't have that overarching and overwhelming grip of fear, that like chokehold of fear that the Seed family had on that county. So that's another reason why I just couldn't buy into it.
They have, they being Ubisoft, have announced that Far Cry 6 will be unveiled at their next event in July, their E3 event, for lack of a better word, in July. And they've promised an exciting new exotic location. We're getting away from the United States. We're going somewhere new. And from my understanding, it's not a continuation of this story.
That'll be interesting. I can't wait to spend $60 on whatever piece of crap they shit out. Because I know I'm going to play it, and I know I'm going to probably like it.
I really wanted to. I mean, I know we talked about this last week about, the price of a console versus the price of a computer and everything. I really want to play a co-op Far Cry with somebody because I feel like it may be more fun. Because I am in my head, you ruined this for me, you actually, because when we play Elder Scrolls, you constantly make fun of the NPCs when you're talking with them. And I've started doing that now. And I've totally shit on the game in my own way.
Oh, I'm sorry that I made you realize how lame the NPCs are, Jim.
Not that like I was, in love with them or anything, but yeah, what ended up happening is like they'll be talking and I'm like, yeah, whatever. And I'm like walking away or I'm like revving up the car or whatever, like to the ATV, and I'm being a total asshole. And they're like, Dad died. I'm like, cool, can I have some bullets? So
Get over yourself here.
I feel like if I had somebody to share in the mayhem with, I could totally embrace the nonsense, but I keep wanting there to be a deeper story arc, and I keep wanting there to be some really cool, oh my God moment, kind of like we saw at the end of Far Cry 5. And it's not happening, but I'm still really enjoying this game.
Yeah, and I think that that kind of feeds in that non-specific thing that I didn't mention. I think the ending of Far Cry 5, the original one, I think that that ending and the like that genuinely caught me by surprise. Like, holy crap! And now we're trapped in here with this nutcase. That took me by surprise, and they did that as a build up to Far Cry New Dawn, which they already knew they were going to make.
Yeah.
And I felt like I was really excited and just like trembling with anticipation and excitement for what the next iteration of Far Cry was going to be. And then they gave me Far Cry New Dawn, and it just was kind of a letdown to me. I feel like they had that. They took advantage of something that you don't expect in a game where it does not work out at the end. It doesn't. All of that was for nothing. You don't even know what happens, what like ends up happening to that guy, to like your main character. So maybe one day we'll get some closure on that, but Far Cry New Dawn was not that closure that I wanted. And I think that independent of it being a fun game, independent of it being creative, I think that that kind of tarnished it for me.
Do you think, were you a fan of the damage indicators on your guns? Like when you shot and it showed like 20, 20, 20. Did you like that or no?
I haven't played it in a year. I don't remember what you're talking about.
So in the original every Far Cry up to this Far Cry, when you attack somebody, you don't really know how much health they have. They're just like, "Ooh, ooh." And in this game, they actually had a health bar above their name. And as you shot them, you saw numbers appear and you saw the health bar actually drop down.
Oh, yeah. Well, let's not lie. I never put enough thought into it to have an opinion. I guess I am indifferent towards it, and if I had a preference, I would rather not be able to see their health marker. It's a distraction when I'm trying to shoot them.
That has been a common criticism of Ubisoft games, even with Ghost Recon, where they are kind of making the same game across all the platforms, where you're seeing things like damage indicators and health bars and drop in and drop out and kind of weak storyline but open world gameplay. That's kind of what Ubisoft is devolved. I don't want to say devolved, but they've done this across every game they have now. And I'm curious, especially since Ghost Recon was so poorly received, Breakpoint was so poorly received. I'll be curious to see if when Far Cry 6 comes out, if they've totally changed the formula again.
Yeah. Well, that word that you just used is key in my counterpoint, which is they have a formula that they think for whatever reason works. And it's probably driven off of the early iterations of when they started doing those things. Those games, sold well. So, you have a great recipe for a great chocolate chip cookie. You don't want to deviate from it too much. But then they decided to throw fucking walnuts in there at some point, and everyone was like, "Whoa, walnuts and chocolate chip cookies? Fuck you!" And rightfully so. Don't throw walnuts and chocolate chip cookies, Ubisoft. Please, just crap out these yearly games that are zany, and they allow you to get away with the fact that there's no depth of character interaction, there's no depth of story. It's just 60 to 70 hours of fun nonsense when it should be 100 hours of real, plot-driven, character-driven story. But you get away with it because you give us the ability to communicate with a panther somehow.
Yeah, and Cheeseburger we think is MIA. I don't think he made it.
He went the way of Lydia.
I think so. He's gone. Yes. Okay. Well, fair enough. One last thing on Far Cry New Dawn that I wrote in my notes that I wanted to say here, and I'm sure that probably nobody in the world noticed this but me, and I truly appreciate it, is the vehicle gauges in Far Cry New Dawn actually work. So your speedometer, your tachometer, it actually legitimately works.
They do. They go, "Ooh."
And they didn't. They didn't in Far Cry 5,
They didn't.
and they they do in New Dawn, and I liked it.
Yeah,
Pretty much.
it's a big deal.
All right, so moving on from Far Cry, there's been a lot of. I was gonna call it this section when I wrote you. What is this?
Are we just going to breeze over the update to Elder Scrolls Online? Because we kind of went from Blades right into...
I was gonna no. Let's talk about it now. I was gonna save it, but let's do it now. I want to hear.
You're
go
saving
ahead.
it.
No.
Okay.
Stop. Halt. We're doing it now. We're calling an audible. I want to hear. You started to poll me about it. We know that Elder Scrolls came out today with the new expansion, and I have seen the cutscene, and you have seen the cutscene, but it probably means a lot more to you than to me. So I want to hear what you got to say.
Holy shit, guys. We're back in Skyrim. I had a nerdgasm to the high. Now, this dude was unlucky enough to be my friend at the time this came out and have to tolerate a Marco Polo video for me, which is like half a second of choppy video and audio from my computer and then coming back to the screen of me going like this. Because like it's such a revolutionary concept that they put you back in a horse-drawn carriage, you crest over a hill, and someone says, "Hey, you're finally awake." I could never wear that pair of underpants again. I can't even look at my legs right now because I feel so bad what I did to my left leg. No, but seriously, the thing that I took away from it is why are werewolves and vampires working together? Sworn enemies, sworn enemies. So have the vampires figured out a way through some sort of weird necromancy to where they can make their blood more powerful than the blood of a lycanthrope? And now there's vampiric werewolves. And oh my God, guys, if I can be a vampire werewolf, I'm never going to play another game again. Won't happen. I'll just be on there like I'll just run around in circles and wait for Jim to come because we have this pact where we don't play without one another on these certain characters. And very stupidly, when Jim mentioned he was going to start developing his own solo character, I didn't do the same thing. So I've only got one character to play with, and that is Gunnar Hamunderson, famous Nordic warrior.
The sword guy.
Yeah, the sword guy.
Yeah.
So that's my major takeaway is that there is a werewolf working with vampires, but I couldn't get a good look at his eye because when it pans down and you're able to see his face, he howls, and I didn't look in his eyes to see if he had vampire eyes. So I don't know what the story is there. Maybe they have some sort of uneasy alliance to take back the night, so to speak. Who knows? I'm excited to find out. We've got to work our way through. We've completed Northern Elsewhere. Now we have to make our way through Morrowind, and then we have to go down to the Somerset Isles, and then once we're done with all that, we can head over to Skyrim and see what's up.
We could go now.
We could, but you just want to skip the rest of the game because if I go to Skyrim before I do this other stuff, I'm never going back to it. I'm going to stay in Skyrim forever.
Okay. I didn't realize that Skyrim was that important to you.
You didn't?
Not in no. I know you're obsessed with the game, but I thought we could hit it now because it's hot and fresh and fun, and then we could go off and see whatever the other places you said were.
I can see your point, and I am also willing to take any loose excuse to get over there quicker, so let's do it.
I didn't realize that you felt so strongly that we had to be in, like, once we get to Skyrim, it's over.
Well, obviously I can't make that decision, and it was more of a It was more of a half joke than anything because we have a really, really great team dynamic where both of us just want to make the other person happy, and every once in a while one of us will make the selfish choice to go left or right, and we'll stop saying, I just want to do what you want to do. You think it's more often me? No, it's totally okay if it is, because at least someone's making a fucking decision. But yeah, no, we don't like boss each other around, so we're just exploring. No. So
we're just having fun.
Yeah, man.
You're
so
right. There's
whenever
no
you want to get
rush.
over there, we should actually probably get over there and take a look around. If nothing else for content, we could probably do like an emergency or a special update on this podcast because it is a pretty significant thing in the world of gaming.
Sure. Yeah, I'm down with going to see the new area, and I'm down with exploring and whatever, seeing what exists out there. I would say that unlike you, I'm just excited to see. Like Morrowind is really exciting to me because I really don't remember it.
Mm.
Same with the other island. What'd you say? What was the other one? Morrow? What was it? Something Summer Island or
Somerset
something?
Isles, where the
Yeah.
Altmer are from. Well, not the Altmer, the High Elves. That's where the High Elves are. All elves are Altmer. I misspoke.
Jeez, Phil. I'll let you pass this one time. You just used your one mistake.
Actually,
And uh-oh.
no, not all Altmer are High Elves, because there's Dunmer. So Mer refers to obviously a non-man, which is an elf. Altmer are High Elves. So yes, Altmer come from the Somerset Isles.
Mer means man.
No, Mer means not a man. Man is man. Human. Dunmer. Not Dunman. Dunmer.
I never knew that.
Dunman.
That makes really logical sense to me.
Yeah, well, there's man versus Mer.
The epic battle
But
continues.
what about Merman? Heathens.
Okay. I would be excited to check out whatever. If you want to take a detour there so you could see the werewolf vampire guy, I'm fine with that. I was also stricken back by the fact that there were werewolves and vampires working together. I didn't understand that, and I thought that was a cool alliance considering they're supposed to hate each other. So I'm down for whatever. I got to heal you, and you're mostly offense when you're not distracted and leaving me to die. So
Because you want to fight everything that comes near us. Oh, look, there's a group of flies. Let's go fight it. I just want to get to the point of what we're doing here.
Mr. Rambo blows through and aggroes half of the goddamn map. I'm just strolling along, and next thing I know, I get nailed, dismounted, and I'm fighting, and you're like, "Why aren't you healing me?" And it's like, "Bitch, I'm swinging my staff, screaming."
I do. I'll say, "Why are you healing me? I'm dying." And you're like 5 miles behind me.
I have like no. You see my health like because I'm healing as fast as I can, and I'm like, I have no offense. All I have is auto attack, and that's it. And I'm just dying out here. But okay, maybe that's something to consider.
We are.
I would be curious to see what would happen.
Conventional duo.
Yes, I agree. So my solo character, which is very easy to make, by the way, Phil. You just hit create new character, and you can go. I know, revolutionary, but he is a tank. He is now level 22, and I am just a battleground warrior. I gave up on Northern Elsewhere. I'm doing the main story one mission at a time because that's about all I could stomach. Only because I want the skill point.
There you go.
But I've been doing a lot of the PvP zones, sieging, attacking, the solo battlegrounds, that kind of stuff. And I'm having an absolute blast. It would be fun. I feel like I'm still too weak, even though there's a sub 50 battleground. I feel like I'm still a little too weak when it comes to fighting one-on-one. But in a crowd, I'm good at just being a distraction, and I love buying siege weapons. And to me, it's just hysterical shooting a flaming fireball at like an NPC and watching them explode. I'd never get tired of that.
Oh, but I can't. You can blow NPCs to pieces, but I can't like lightly mock them. That ruins everything for you. Bastard.
Bastard. So, so I'm okay. So maybe next week we'll talk a little bit more about our adventures in Elder Scrolls, because it sounds like that may be. Well, I don't know. You know, if the new Call of Duty comes out, you may not care.
When's the new Call of Duty coming out? You mean the new Battle Pass?
Yeah. I mean, it might be today. It might be a month. They haven't said anything. We don't know.
Well, luckily we can play both together, and we can take, one night do one night do the other, do half a night of one, half a night of the other, like we did last night. We got kicked off the French and the German Xbox One mega server, and then we went and played Call of Duty.
It was an international ejection.
Is that what they call it when you join the Mile High Club over international waters?
So, what I want.
Heyo!
Heyo! Phil. So, a lot of gaming announcements starting to bubble up to the surface. Rapid fire through these. They just today was the debut of IGN's Summer of Gaming Live, which was a complete shit show. I don't think you watched any of that, did you?
Didn't even know it was happening.
You didn't miss much. YouTube and Jeff Keighley announced they're teaming up. So a couple of years for the last 6 years, well, 5 years. This would be year six. IGN and Jeff Keighley have merged forces to announce their big mashup of news and announcements. It's a big platform. They give them a big stage. They bring on a bunch of guests. He announced that he's going to be doing that again this year. We've gotten a litany of Xbox press blogs. We got another one today talking all about the great features of Xbox Series X. Destiny 2 had a live stream the other day. EA Play is coming. But I don't care about any of that. The only one I care about is PlayStation. Don't me nudge.
No,
What's
you
this?
said you didn't care, and I was indicating I don't care either.
Oh, I thought you were like, don't talk about PlayStation, bro.
No. This is a gaming podcast. No, don't talk about PlayStation.
No, we only talk about Bethesda, Fallout 76, and why Jim's getting an Xbox Series X. That's all we talk about. That's it. So, your homework for me, and we may talk about this next week if it really moves us. Maybe we'll do an impromptu discussion this weekend on it. Whatever. The PlayStation event coming tomorrow. I have been so excited for this. And I, of course, make insanely unrealistic expectations for myself. I am going to set myself up for failure. I am going to be disappointed, but I am also beyond excited for this event.
I am also very, very, very excited. And I'm interested to hear what your predictions are. I wrote down a few of my own over here.
Okay. So I came up with 3 games that I really need to see. That was my predictions. I know we're going to get a lot of partnership deals, and we'll probably get kind of like, hey, look, we're working with Warner Brothers to make a new game, and hey, here's a sneak peek of the new Call of Duty and stuff like that. But these are things that I feel like Sony can absolutely control. And the first is not so much of a wild prediction, but it's one that if it doesn't happen, I will cry. And that is the remake of Demon Souls.
Okay.
I love Dark Souls so much. Dark Souls is one of my absolute favorite gaming franchises ever. But I came into it late. I never played Demon Souls.
Okay. I came in at Dark Souls as well.
To me, beating the first Dark Souls, it took me 180 hours of grinding because I was too weak to fight the final boss. Dark Souls 2 took me 175 hours of grinding. Dark Souls 3, I got smarter and I partnered with some random guy online, and he just basically one-shotted the final boss for me. Maybe I was a little over it by then. I just love that universe. So any taste into that weird post-apocalyptic, weird side world where people are dead but they're not dead, any tease of that, I'll take it in a heartbeat.
Okay.
Do you want me to keep going, or do you want to go next?
No, I want you to get all your points out, and then I'll express mine.
Very good. The next game that I really want to see is I want to see a reform of the original Killzone. Not a remaster. I want them to go back to fighting aliens.
What was the game?
Killzone?
Oh, okay.
So I've been a big fan of Killzone since the beginning of time, and what I did not like was the last Killzone really went very bizarre, way into the future. I feel like it was just a name drop. It really didn't have much to do, to me, with kind of the original trilogy of Killzone games. I like the idea of this weird alien invasion, kind of like Doom, but a little more grounded. You're fighting on Earth. You're using more conventional weaponry. Maybe even like World War II era type weaponry. It doesn't matter to me. But that game just really, to me, resonated so much with what I think shooters could be. And to me, I think of like original PlayStation, I think of memory cards, and I think of Killzone.
Oh my God, those translucent 8 GB memory cards.
I don't even, yeah, those were they gigabytes or megabytes? I don't remember, but they were just, yeah. Do you remember they had you could load it up and see the little icons of each save? And each save had like its own little icon. And you could like watch like a little movie almost of like them dancing or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
My last announcement, and the one that I doubt we'll see because it seems like they've unfortunately gutted the series, is I want to see a good Twisted Metal game with a good story.
I would love to see that as well. I just don't think it's realistic.
They have tried to revitalize Twisted Metal now 3 times, and they don't want to commit. It's kind of like what we talked about with Far Cry. They don't want to commit to the zany, campy, quick time movies we saw in the original, but they also don't want it to be too dark and gory because it seems like they want it to be like a teenager game. And I
They're not
feel like
making
they
it.
got to do one or the other.
Yeah, well, they're making it for us. And what do we love about the first ones? It was fun to play and it was wacky.
Maybe that's the idea. Maybe they need to embrace some of that Far Cry nonsense and get back to what made the original so much fun. But if they hit any of those 3 games, I would be incredibly excited.
Yeah, when Twisted Metal Black came back, or when Twisted Metal Black came for, I think it was PS3,
Yes.
um, it was just creepy, man. It was creepy. They took it too far. It was too dark, and all the drivers were like murderers. It wasn't like with Axel, where Axel was a former slave who was trapped in this thing for eternity, and he just wanted his freedom. Like that's something I can get behind. You know,
Yeah.
Spectre like wanted to come back from the ghost realm and be with his family. He was just trying to earn his freedom. There were
Right.
characters where you could get behind supporting them and really put some feelings or some care into the storyline, even if the storyline wasn't super solid. Like there's this mythic being at the end who ends up screwing everyone over anyway. But you could really believe in the character and believe in the story, even though it was kind of loose. And I just don't feel like they've ever tried to remake the game, and that's what they're missing. They're missing the common sense that they put in the game in the first place. Like, what will make people want to, advance this person through the game, other than seeing what comes next or driving a cool car? Is it legitimate?
I agree with you 1,000%. And I feel like that's really where they need to figure out the tone they want to take and they need to nail it. But I get it. You're not expecting a deep RPG-esque saga out of a racing car game where you're shooting missiles at motorcycles and stuff.
No.
So maybe it's a pipe dream, but that's my list. So what about you? What does Phil need to see to make you just lose it?
So I just want to see what the console looks like. That's what I'm most excited for, and that probably won't happen. But
Right.
the things that I'm predicting, I have a list of predictions.
I'm ready.
So I think that they'll predict the price. I think that they'll give us some insight into the price.
Wow, really? Okay.
Because that's been rumored. It's been rumored, and I'm going to say that price point is going to be between $499 and $549.99.
Okay.
So $500 or $550.
Right.
I think some specs will be revealed that show it's closer in power to Xbox than everyone else thinks, because Sony's been radio silence for a while. And if they were ever going to do some like last minute, like, okay, we're not going to use this version of the AMD processor, we're going to use processor and figure out a different part of it to cut down on costs on,
Yeah.
it would have been during this quiet period. So I think the PS5 is going to be more powerful than people expect it to be. And I think that there's going to be, and I don't know what this special feature will be, but I'm sure that the PS5 will have that is going to at least create buzz to dominate to not dominate, to combat the Xbox's superior marketing exposure. So I think something cool about the PlayStation that no one was expecting is going to be revealed, and I'm just wondering what that is.
Okay.
Okay. And the games that I think that they're going to announce, or at least that I hope that they are going to announce, that would get me really excited are God of War 2, because I was told that Santa Monica Studios was going to be part of this event, and it just kind of makes sense. I'm hoping for Spider-Man 2. I'm hoping for Horizon Zero Dawn sequel, and I'm hoping for a legitimate sequel of Binary Domain.
If they went out and did all of that at once, that would be the most insane conference of all time.
But that's what they need. They need to distract from Xbox. So that's the loose justification I'm going to use for hoping for all this stuff that's just not going to happen. We're going to get like Rabbids remastered for PS5. That's what we're going to actually get. Look, you can take panels off your new Xbox PS5 whatever controller, and you can switch new ones in that are different colors. That's what we're going to get.
Do you think that it's going to be dominated by Sony? You named a lot of Sony first-party games, and I'm all about that. But do you think they're going to have a lot of partnership deals? Like, do you think we'll see like an Ubisoft or, I mean, Demon Souls is by From Software, so that, okay, but like, do you think we're going to see Ubisoft and Warner Brothers and that sort of thing, or do you think this is basically the PlayStation show?
I would expect to see some like super high profile AAAs. Like I expect Rockstar to say something or to have something. I expect EA. I expect Ubisoft to all be taking part. But Ubisoft, I mean, what are we going to hear about? Assassin's Creed Valhalla?
With gameplay.
With gameplay. I think we're going to hear from Activision. I actually think we'll hear from Activision. I think we'll hear from Rockstar. And I think that we'll hear from EA. And then everything else will be first party.
There's been a lot of, I don't want to say leaks because they're not confirmed, but a lot of listings on Amazon over the last day of various game studios announcing games that have a PlayStation 5 tag with them. Not necessarily the names, but like, you know, like Rockstar PS5 or something like that. So we know they're placeholders. I would be really excited if any of your predictions came true, because I feel like all of these companies, and we're going to talk about Nintendo here in a minute to close everything out, but I feel like we've had this huge void of what E3 was, and it's gone. And there's nothing that has stepped up at all to kind of fill in that gap. I think Microsoft has done a horrible job of getting ahead of PlayStation, and I feel like if there's any time to strike, like, it has to be now.
Yes and no. Yes and no. I don't feel like Xbox has done that bad at getting out there. But then again, I'm going to take a step back from this because I am an Xbox fanboy, and I guess you're their own like weird pseudo version of E3, but it's not going to happen because E3 was special for a variety of reasons, which was, okay, we just went and saw the Sony booth. Now let's go over and see what Bethesda's doing. And it was all accessible right there, same day. You get to talk to all the industry experts. You get to be there in and amongst all kinds of different fans. And that's why E3 was special. And that's why no one person is ever going to be able to duplicate it with their own first party, whatever. We need to get back in a building with all of our favorite all of our first party developers that all the console loyalists are excited about. We need to get our AAAs together, and we need to get our indie studios together and put them all in one place, and that's when it's going to be special again, because that's what was special about E3.
Agreed. I do miss that magic, and I know every studio is trying to capture it in their own way, and they're trying to build up some hype in their own way. But it seems like E3 was just so overwhelmingly awesome that you were just like your mind was blown, and it's hard for any single studio at this point to actually make that happen, especially with the drip feed of stuff we've gotten. So I love your idea. I've never really thought of them just basically dropping this A bomb of news at once, but I think that would definitely shake up the status quo of what we've been seeing so far. And I would love nothing more because I feel like, as I always go back to competition, it would push Microsoft to push even harder because I feel like they are really not doing much. PlayStation's done nothing. I feel like Microsoft isn't doing much either, though.
Yeah. Well, we shall see tomorrow, my friend. I'm very excited.
So excited.
I wish that there's a way that we could watch it together and be like broadcasting our reactions.
I thought about that from a technical standpoint. It is possible, but it is difficult.
You broke up really bad. I have no idea what you said after I finished my thought.
I was saying how wonderful your haircut is. No, what I was saying was I thought about doing that, but technically I feel like there's a lot that could go wrong. I think I want to test it with something. I don't know what I want to test it with. It is even now, like recording this, like I'm constantly, you look like I'm looking at my camera. Here's my camera. You constantly see me looking down here. It's because I'm looking at our sound gauge. I'm looking at like the latency, making sure our lips are matching what we're saying. Like if we had another person who was in charge of like, yeah, exactly. And who knows, maybe that'll happen. I've noticed that on a couple of ours, it's off by a little bit, but I'm like, it's good enough. You could hear it. Just mute just don't look at the screen. Just listen. But yes, I have thought about that. So maybe coming soon, I think that's something we should definitely entertain. I will say that in closing on the PlayStation piece, it's going to be interesting, and I hope they learn some of the production errors of what Xbox did, and they make it a very polished show.
Yeah, like being laggy and choppy from the very start.
I expect that from us because I have no idea what the hell I'm doing. But from like $1 million company, like you have dedicated AV people, you have dedicated like coders and all this stuff. Like make it look good.
Jim, million?
Millions.
Microsoft is
Millions.
$1 trillion company. Trillion with a T.
Even better. So what the last thing I wanted to talk about, kind of a segue, is where the hell is Nintendo?
What is Nintendo's state of play?
You know, I remember Nintendo had announced some time ago that they were postponing one of their Nintendo Directs based on COVID, and it was hard for them to all get in a space to work together. I could only imagine that a lot of these studios are kind of in a development standstill because there's probably a lot of stuff they work on that they don't want to physically leave the building. And I could understand that. They don't want you to take your work home.
Yeah, let's get this master copy of this new Mario game and just let's let it walk down the street.
Exactly. So I could totally understand there's some vault somewhere where they're taking what they do very seriously and they're saying, look, we're not leaving this room. The code is staying here, whatever. That said, so in a sense, I can understand why some of these the announcements are slightly delayed. But you remember, I think I texted you this back in March, where Nintendo had announced kind of passively that it was a big anniversary for Mario and that they were gonna kind of have the year of Mario. We're gonna see a bunch of remasters of these old games. And where the hell it never really panned out other than Paper Mario, which is coming out in July. We have seen nothing from Nintendo on any front at all in an incredibly long time. Not as bad as PlayStation, but a really long time.
Yeah, bunch of fucking liars. I'm, I'm in my notes for this. I wrote Phil wants to see a remake of Mario 64, Super Mario 64, and I want to see a remake of obviously Super Mario Sunshine. And then I'm gonna go buy the GameCube controller for my Switch. I don't
No,
even
but
know if that I don't even know if that exists. If it does, I'm going to buy it.
we're gonna make it.
Okay, Jim's going to make it for me because he's all in the software or whatever stupid shit he does all day. Um, what does Jim think? What two Mario remakes does Jim want to see the most?
Mario Galaxy is probably my favorite Mario game ever. Um, because it had the gravity to it. You could jump and like loop around planets and like slingshot off to other worlds. That 3D element was so. I mean, there's parts you were playing upside down. Um, it really changed the way I looked at 3D worlds for sure.
Yeah.
So I would love to see that, and I would love to see. It has to be a Mario game.
Well, that's the topic that we're on. Like,
I
is
know, but there's other games I want them to remake instead of another Mario game. But I will go ahead and say I'd love to see the original Mario Kart. And I know that doubled. I know that. Listen, I understand. We've already got Mario Kart 8, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which is a total remaster of everything, a celebration of Mario Kart. But I want them to take and make a 2D, just like they did in the OG Mario. I want to see that kind of like the way we've seen it in Octopath Traveler, where it's a very stylized game. They're flat pixels or flat geometry against the background. The original soundtrack, the original characters, the original levels, just cleaned up a little bit. I would love that. Make it like a $10 game or $15 game because no one's going to really play this but me. But
have you downloaded the Nintendo emulator and the Super Nintendo emulator on your Switch yet?
no. Oh, yes, yes. You're talking about as part of the Nintendo online subscription. Yeah, you get a bunch of free games for each. Yes, I have.
Yeah. What'd you think of that?
Um, I like that they've included the little cheats in games where they're like, here's Kid Icarus, and here's Kid Icarus, one hit from the end of the final boss with every item in the game unlocked, and all you have to do is press A and you win. And I like that because the truth is, some of those games are a little grindy, and there's definitely not a lot of reward in them anymore, the way that there was back when they first came out.
Right. All right, let's dive into the real Nintendo topic. The only thing that anyone really cares about,
Tell
which
me.
is where the fuck is our news about Breath of the Wild 2? Where is it, Jim?
You know, the last we saw, they said it's in development, and that's all they said.
Bastards.
For Breath of the Wild 2 to work, in my opinion, they need to keep the formula of the original. However, I think they need to drop weapon durability,
Okay.
and they need to take and put real treasures at the end of all these temples or dungeons or whatever the hell they want.
Instead of like a slingshot that makes it so you can complete the mission.
Right. So, like, if you think back to the original Breath of the Wild, you got your entire tool set on the plateau. You got everything you needed to go off and explore the world. There was nothing you couldn't see or do because you had every tool available from the start. And I like that. That was rewarding because it allowed you to see anything. And there was anytime you couldn't get somewhere, it wasn't because you had to come back later. It's because you weren't thinking about it the right way. You had to cut a tree down. You had to light the forest on fire and fly over the flames. You had to, I don't know, whatever, make it up. I love that freedom, but you did all these cool things and you get to the end, but you get to the end and what was inside these chests? Little orbs that gave you like a little bit of more heart, or you could trade it in for like some kind of magic barbarian armor. It wasn't fun. Like, I need to have a modifier that makes me shoot 10 arrows at once, or I don't know. They
Yeah.
got to figure that out. That's not on me, but it needs to. I completed all the dungeons because I liked it and because I bought the book on Amazon. It was free. It was like you sign up for this thing and you got the it's this giant like Bible of Zelda. It's huge. It's like over a foot tall, probably 500 pages. It's like $60. And Amazon, I got it for free because Rachel signed up for Audible and they gave me a free book, so I bought that. Um, I beat all the dungeons because I knew right where they were at. And even though I had fun exploring, I wanted to just be a completionist. But at the end, I didn't feel like I got anything out of it. It was like, oh, great, another. The dungeons were great. The challenges were great. They were fun. I loved all the mechanics. I just need a payoff at the end.
Yeah, I didn't like how they handled the ending of Breath of the Wild. It's either like you either have to keep the bad guys there just about to get beat, or you beat it and then it's over and then you go back to the bad guys who are just about to be beat. Oh, but by the way, you can go get a motorcycle now. Come back and beat them later after you get this impossibly difficult to get motorcycle. I didn't like
Right.
the way that they handled that at all. But
I agree.
so I loved Breath of the Wild.
Same.
It's just a beautiful universe to explore. I liked fighting. I liked fighting the four big whatever. The lizard and the elephant and all that stuff. I like seeing the different species of um, creatures and whatever that inhabited the larger scale Hyrule.
Mm-hmm.
But there's some things I don't know. It's kind of like, okay, Princess Zelda is trapped, and now Link has to go save her. And by the way, we have to go find them. This motherfucker has lost the Master Sword and the Master Shield too many times. Friend, he's also always losing his sword and his shield, and it pisses me off. So I would like to have the Legend, Breath of the Wild 2 kind of start where we left off, but I've got some bold predictions and some things that I would like to see. So if you don't,
Okay.
I'm going to dive right into that. So in my notes, I have here that it was supposed to be late 2020 release. I'm going to go ahead and say that shit ain't going to happen because nothing good's happening in 2020. All right. Other than Series X and PS5 coming out. And we just have to hope that some good first party games come at launch, I guess.
Right.
I'm guessing February of 2021 release. And I'm guessing based purely upon the trailer and the subtext and little hints in the audio that I got, that a major component of this game will be time, a departure from the Ocarina of Time, but it will center around either the manipulation of time travel, or being forced into a different point in the space-time continuum within Hyrule that we're used to. Also, another potential plot twist is that in this version, Link is abducted, and we see the heroine. We see the heroine within Princess Zelda, the namesake of the game. Everyone thinks that Link is Zelda, but we finally get to take direct control of Princess Zelda's fate and unleash the heroine that's been in her this entire time.
I would love that.
Go and rescue Link. And you know what? As cheesy and obvious sort of as that is, I would be so totally into that, and I would actually play with a female character. I don't personally like playing with female characters. I know it's literally clicking buttons and then it translates into a movement on a made-up character on a TV, but I can't get behind. I don't know. I'm a dude. I see things with dude's eyes, and like I don't know. Maybe it's probably, maybe I'm a piece of shit. I don't know. I just don't. I can't get into games where the major player is a female. So I never choose the option to play as a woman. I don't want to play in a skirt. I don't know. Maybe there's something wrong with me. But I would be so totally into that. I can't even describe it. So
that would
I'd
be
like
cool.
your thoughts.
I would love that. I would love a switch on the fact that you're now playing as, more of the same. Because they could do a lot with that. She could definitely. We always see her as, just kind of like the pillar at the end. I mean, a little bit with Sheik, in some of the older games, but we never really got to take control. And Link is always kind of there. I know there's some weird timeline stuff that there's like actual multiple timelines. Like the Link you play with isn't the same Link as before, but most people don't really care about that and it doesn't add to the story. But to mix it up, to make it fun, that would be really, really cool. Absolutely. No doubt about it. I would love that. I think that's a really cool idea. Maybe, maybe looking at it in the future of kind of, where they want to take the series, do you think there's a chance they could be somewhere that's not Hyrule? Would that matter to you? Does it have to be in Hyrule?
Wouldn't matter to me at all.
Yeah, I'm wondering if there's other places. I don't know enough about the universe to go in, but fresh coat of paint in terms of like going to see something new, a new area. Hyrule is always the castle, the hills. It's very similar. The Enchanted Woods, the Majora's area, the lava area. Like, it would be cool if they could just say, "Hey, look, we are now going to Planet X." I don't know, whatever it is. It's still going to have some of that great charm to it, but it's going to be a totally different universe. I would like that a lot too.
But if they don't switch up how the game plays, then it won't matter because you can take them, you can move them from Hyrule to the fictional universe that the Griffin family lives in Family Guy, and put a castle and a bad guy in it, and still be, hack slash roll. Hi-ya! It's the same shit over and over again. So I would like to see a little bit of a departure from what we know and love, but still keep the heart of the game. So I guess I'm going to take back what I said and say I don't give a shit. I would be a little bit bummed if Hyrule wasn't there, but how many times can I go and find that weird guy, that weird tree in the middle of the enchanted forest? You know
That's
what I
what I
mean?
mean. I feel like a new recipe on the location would do a lot for the game. I mean, Skyward Sword definitely had a very different location that was a lot of fun. Twilight Princess, you had that whole other universe you kind of explored. Um, I agree. I don't know. I just would say that take risks because you have such a great mechanically, other than the little frame rate hitches there here and there, you had such a great mechanic in the game, and it was so much fun in terms of like what you could do and how you could move and how you could interact with the world. I think you could take that somewhere else and really make an even better game.
Well, I agree with all your points, and I'm excited to see what the
I
coming
am
weeks
too.
will.
Well, hopefully, by this time next week, there's like 10,000 other things to talk about.
Right.
Definitely a lot of stuff trickling out over the past couple weeks, but I'll be really curious to see, moving forward, what we actually get our hands on. And I'm hoping, you know, things are getting shaken up a little bit status quo wise, and we can get some more really good announcements. That would be the best,
Yeah.
but we will see. So, as I fix your camera again for the zillionth time.
Why? What happened?
I don't know. It hitches, and then you get weird. Like you get really tiny, or upside down, or backwards. I know. I try to fix you on the fly.
You know what I've
There we go.
realized in my very short time of knowing you is I think
Yes.
the best way to insult you verbally is to tell you that you are the human representation of a frame rate glitch. That's what you are, Jim. Because nothing bothers you like a slight hitch with the frame rate.
Slight hitch. If it's 60 frames a second, god damn it, that means 60. It doesn't mean 53. It doesn't mean 51 dipping down to 40. 60 means 60. And you're right. And I hate it, and it drives me bananas.
Jim, you're nothing but a frame rate glitch in your parents' life, buddy.
Oh man. Well, it's been a good one, Phil. Is there anything else you want to say to the millions and millions of fans that we're going to soon have?
I would say that war never changes.